welcome hosts Dustin, and Anna.
Happy New Year!
What's up? Happy New Year.
Have a new beer.
Have a new beer.
Oh man.
Should old acquaintance be forgotten?
Sing it, Frankie. All right, anyways.
Hell yeah, man.
Welcome back to the Baron's Hideout podcast, you guys.
Yes.
Welcome
You want me to-
back.
You want me to keep going? I mean, you told me to lead.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Well, this month we are kicking off a very special theme month, which is
Welcome to Full Moon January.
Who was that?
that is correct. Full Moon January. It sounds like it might be Vlad, our mascot,
Vlad.
making an
Vlad's back.
appearance again.
Hell yeah. For a long
Resurrected.
time.
Resurrected.
Yes.
But yes, we are doing all Full Moon production company made movies this month. And this was started by Charlie Band, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, correct, yes. And since it is my birthday month, the fellas have tasked me with picking all Full Moon movies. And to kick it off, like we said, it's the Pit and the Pendulum from 1991. I'm sure that's a familiar phrase to anyone who remembers anything about English literature in school growing up. Edgar Allan Poe, I feel like, was kind of if you grew up in the 90s and you went to school, you know who Edgar Allan Poe is.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if they teach him so much now as they used to, but he was definitely there when I was growing up. And surprisingly enough, The Pit and the Pendulum is one that I never read. And it was through watching this that I realized it was one. It's a name I know, but not a story I know. Have you guys read the story or anything? Are you familiar with this work?
No, I know of the story, but I never read it. I don't think it was ever a requirement in school for me, but then again, it's an old book.
Right.
No, but-
I think The Raven was a requirement for us.
Oh,
Yeah.
Big D.
And The Fall of the House of Usher was another
Bingo.
one that was a
I
requirement.
think mine was a
But I'm
Scarlet
familiar.
Letter.
The only thing I'm familiar with about this is the fucking Simpsons Treehouse of Terror has done it.
Oh, yeah. They did a lot of the post.
That's why I know The Pit and the Pendulum. So, but yeah, no, I never read the story, and in all honesty, like it plays out like every other Edgar Allan Poe story that has ever been brought to cinema, and I'm sure we're gonna dive into it. So,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Had either of you guys watched this before?
No.
This?
I have a long time ago. I was telling Anna before we started, I'm like, it was really nice to see this in not super blurry pixelated mess. Because I think the last time I saw this was on VHS, I want to say. Might have been at Blockbuster or something years and years ago, or wherever it was. But seeing this, watched it on Tubi. I was like, oh,
Same,
I can actually see what's going on in this movie now.
I can see all the chloroform being used in this.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Well, before
man.
we get started with the review, let's go ahead and jump over to Rotten Tomatoes.
Let's do it.
Oh,
And I'll
please.
have you guys pick. I'll lead this time. I'm already on the page.
Yes.
Alrighty, with 8 critic reviews.
Mm-hmm.
Big D, we'll go you first. What do you think?
It's your year, dude.
The
It's
critics
your year.
rated.
Anna, talk to me without your mouth, only your brain.
I'm speaking to you right now, my friend.
With your mouth, not your mouth, your brain. Oh, there. Oh, I'm getting a number. I'm getting 72%.
Okay,
Ooh,
Full D.
I don't know if I'd go that high. This is a full moon
And
movie.
I was talking, but I wasn't like giving you the number, goober. Sorry, little
right.
D. Continue.
So you gotta keep in mind this is a full moon movie. It was
Oh,
most
hell
likely,
yeah.
obviously, just direct to video, super low budget. Yeah, it has Lance Hendrickson in it, okay, and Jeffrey Combs, but
And Francis Bay.
So with that being said, I'm gonna have to say this is like a fucking 48%.
Woo! Little D, 2 off.
I thought you were
is
saying
at
nailed it.
It is at 50% rotten with 8 critic reviews, sadly. But we have, let's see, over 1,000 what is it? What would you,
Audience
score.
audience reviews. See, I'm not very familiar with this. Little D, we'll go you first. What do you
boy.
think the people like us rated this movie?
Well, I gotta say the audience likes Full Moon more than the critics, so I'm gonna have to go and give it like a 62.
All right, Big D.
And let's try it again. I'm getting a number. 43%.
What was it again? Dude, you were so we were close, Big D. Wait. 41% is the audience score.
Wow, so they
So-
actually they hated it more than the critics.
Yeah, which is
Uh.
weird, right? It's usually the fans who
I
find
can
something
also
to like.
see. I can see why, because this movie, when you think of Charles Band and Full Moon, this does not come to mind
Mm-mm.
And this
like this movie
also
at
this
all.
also doesn't come to mind when I think of Stuart Gordon either, who
Mm-mm.
directed this. And
Yeah,
that was a big driving
directed
factor.
this.
Yeah, that was a big driving factor as to one of the reasons I picked it. I was going through the list and I was like, oh, Stuart Gordon directed, Lance Henriksen, Jeffrey Combs. Okay, I'm sold.
Francis
And-
Bay.
Francis Bay.
You guys know who Francis Bay is, right?
No,
So when they're in the
I might know. Is he the guy from Breaking Bad?
no, Francis Bay is the old lady that's in the dungeon already.
From Happy
The
Gilmore.
already
Oh, the
captured.
witch.
Yeah, she's Happy's grandma from Happy Gilmore.
Mhm.
I was expecting her to come out
shit.
with a Gene Simmons mask. But no, this movie definitely doesn't feel like a Full Moon production. But what I do really appreciate it, which is I appreciate the shit out of this whenever I watch a Full Moon production, is the sets that they use are immaculate.
Oh yeah.
Like they're so grand. It's physically there. Like over on B Action, dude, we did Dollman versus the Demonic Toys. Those sets made you feel like the size of those demonic toys in the Dollman. You know, and that's what I really dig about this, because they're in real fucking castles, dude. Like I love the architecture and the setting of this movie, but that's really about it, if I'm being
Yeah.
frank. You know, and
Yeah.
it was just hard to pay attention to, man. And when we were watching it, like Holly walked by and I was like, look who it is, and fucking Lance Henriksen's on camera on the screen. And she's looking, I'm like, that's old Ed Harley.
With a goofy ass
'Cause you-
haircut.
Ed Harley.
Oh, Ed Harley.
Why did he not just shave his whole head or do something?
He had to
So
look important.
the only thing I can think of would be like in fairy tales like that, like Robin Hood, like has like he's the monk character, and the monks like characters during that time, I guess, had some type of fucking lightning bolts in their hair. Who knows, dude? I guess that's influenced for Ron Perlman's haircut in Blade 2.
Interesting.
Oh,
You know, but yeah, or the stash, the wraparound stash. But I don't know, man. Anna, let's hear what you have to say about this fucking movie.
and that's so funny. Me and Little D were just talking about that before you joined. We were just kind of just off the rip telling what we thought about it, and that was one thing I said was it was really hard to keep my attention. And I'm glad that I'm not the only one, because at first, like, I also had a lot to do yesterday, but the movie just didn't suck me in to where I didn't care to kind of let other stuff go, you know, to finish the movie. It was very easy for me to hit pause and say, okay, I'll come back to it. Like I'm right there with you. Like the setting was great. The acting was even great. It's not like there were shitty actors in it or anything that. But just
I'll wait till we get to it.
Okay, but just like our core cast for the most part.
Yeah.
Lance Henriksen killed it. I feel like him in this is the equivalent of Christian Bale in Thor: Love and Thunder. Like he totally went for it.
That's one of the trivias I read, is he was pissed off. Him and Stuart Gordon had like a pissing contest on the humor of the movie. And Lance Henriksen's like, no, take this shit fucking seriously. Because Lance Henriksen is a thespian.
Mhm.
You know, like
literally, yeah.
Oh my god, dude! Like he's acting his ass off.
Yeah,
and then you have Stuart Gordon doing the funny, stupid shit, and then eventually Stuart Gordon just caved in to Lance Henriksen. Yeah. And it was like, okay, you play your character how you think he should be played. So that's kind of like where his attitude and mentality for the character came, which I think is great.
Yeah. But at that point, I feel like Stuart Gordon's not the guy to direct this kind of movie. It's just not. Like, I mean, there wasn't even really, there was some gore in it, but there wasn't anything that was like we're used to seeing with him and the kind of stuff he normally directs and makes. It's normally like straight up horror with the comedy, with a lot of gore, like over the top. Even like Dolls, there's not a whole bunch of gore in it, but it's over the top and just.
Dude, Dolls opens up with that giant fucking bear that rips its face off and is a monster.
Yeah, the teddy bear. It's like, what?
Slaps.
This is too serious of a tone for Stuart Gordon. Little D, what about you? Yeah, and for Full Moon too. Yeah, absolutely. Little D.
I'm gonna have to piggyback off of both of you. Like the set designs definitely is what kind of makes or breaks a Full Moon movie, right? Because they always go above and beyond to make sure that they have some solid sets, even if they're just using 1 or 2 rooms in whatever place they're in. But they always, make it look like the period that they're doing or whatever they're trying to do and go above and beyond. The acting, there's some pretty good acting in here for the people who are definitely seasoned actors, for sure. But there's still some in there. It's just like, whatever. But, no. I guess kind of going back to reason why we're doing Full Moon January is because when I go and watch these films, it feels like the new year to me. It has like a weird charm, very homey and weirdly comforting, even though a lot of these are kind of crazy ass movies, especially this one with like what's going on and what they're trying to do in this movie. So this one I did enjoy. I lost maybe some interest once or twice, but I was also just like, I'm kind of into this. I dig this. Will I go and read the book? No. Will I go watch the other Pit and the Pendulum movie that was made in the 1960s? Probably not.
Directed by Roger Corman, starring Vincent Price.
Yeah.
That might be the better bet, actually.
I mean, probably. That was during his whole like Poe movie spree or whatever he was doing. But no, this one, if I were to put it like on what I've seen from Full Moon on a scale, this would definitely be towards the back because it feels like we're going to try something new and see if it works. And if it doesn't work, we're not going to do it ever again. And I don't think they've really ever done anything else kind of like this. But the setting design, with it being a castle, obviously there's 2 movies that come to mind, which is Castle Freak and Subspecies. They've done a lot of castle work with that. But for the most part, it's more like weird shit that they do. But
it's not an IP, is what it is.
Yeah.
Like that's what it's not an IP.
Yeah.
But no, I enjoyed this one for it being pretty different and for it being the first movie we're covering in Full Moon January. I think it's a pretty good fucking pick, to be honest. It gets people, introduced to what Full Moon can do or what they have done, instead of like all the big movies that we were just talking about that they have under their repertoire. I mean, I don't know. I think Stuart Gordon definitely probably didn't need to do this one. But, it's not a Reanimator. That's all I'm gonna say. It's not a Reanimator. If that's what you're looking for with Stuart Gordon attached to it, you're not getting that.
Yeah, and I wonder if I wonder how all this came about. Actually, probably should have looked at IMDb a little bit more because I wonder if like the studio really thought like he was good for this, or maybe Charlie Band needed a favor, and I mean. Stuart Gordon's been around for a long time. I'm sure they were buddies before this. But I mean, I agree. I agree with Lance Henriksen. The fact that this material should be handled in the way it was done. But I don't know, it just doesn't match up for me, like, at the end of the day. And I truly think it's because there is some of that comedy, like, in there, like, and subtextually too. And I think that might be what takes me out. Like, I just can't get a good feel for it. And then it was way more sexual than I thought. I text y'all and I was like, this is a lot more horny than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And dude, especially when old Lance Henriksen is filling her up at the end, or toward the end, and she's laying on that slab. I mean, we see it all, and he's really getting in there. And I mean, I don't know, it was kind of creepy. And it was kind of gross in a lot of ways too. And I mean, she was selling it pretty good that she was uncomfortable, and he was acting extra creepy. So yeah.
And apparently that is why she stopped acting. Was this movie? Yeah. So the part where Lance Henriksen demands that she gets undressed.
Oh, that
and you
whole
have those,
scene, dude.
You have those asshole guards.
That one was bad too. Yeah.
As soon as that one dude says maybe she has something hiding in her, I'm like, you fuckers.
Dude, I know.
But apparently that wasn't like how it was explained to her was it was contemporary and it was an art piece. So it was like of the time art. So she's like, okay, I get it. Then that's not how it went. She got humiliated in front of everyone, like the language became more profane than, the contemporary art style. And she said Stuart Gordon was literally just like not directing, but watching. And it sucks. But this is the last movie that she's ever been in because of that.
That's terrible.
Yeah. It's
and that
disgusting.
That really kind of puts a stink in my mouth about Stuart Gordon.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Reanimator. I mean, the whole part with Barbara Crampton, like with the
head head scene.
I have that on a shirt.
but
I need that shirt.
It's like that dude's wife divorced him because of that scene, and was like, "Did you really have to do that?" type of thing. So it's not. She divorced him because of that? They've been together forever, and she's made a cameo in all of his movies. I had no idea. I thought they were married up until he died. Not Stuart Gordon, the guy who was the head, the doctor.
Yeah, the doctor.
Okay. Yeah, I got you.
His wife, like she visited on set, didn't see it, but when she watched the premiere, that's when she was like, okay. So it's not I guess who of Stuart Gordon at the time to do that type of shit, but yeah, apparently this was the last movie that she had ever been in. What's her name? Rosa D. Ricci?
Yeah.
Ricci?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Barbara Crampton also, I don't know if y'all have watched In Search of Darkness, but she, when you get to Reanimator, the segment on there, and she's actually on all of them, but she's specifically talking about Reanimator, and she said it felt different for her. She said back then it was considered very exploitive, and it was looked at in like this very weird way, but she said it didn't feel that way to her because she felt like she was in on the joke. Like she understood what they were doing, and she didn't feel, I guess, the way Di Ricci was made to feel on this set. It was like, and I mean, honestly, it's kind of like she was lied to in a lot of ways. I mean, really, just flat out, if you look at it, it's going to be this contemporary art piece. You'll get it when you see it, and then it was really like, I feel like it was a little. I feel like the dialogue was too old for that time.
It was too modern for what was happening, and that's
thank you.
My biggest problem with this, because you have Lance Henriksen acting his ass off, Jeffrey Combs acting his ass off. Then you have those two goons, right? The two fucking henchmen. That the first time we meet him, the big one who's dumping the bodies. And you have everybody who's playing the straight man. Everyone's the straight man in this movie, except for those two. And he's sitting there being bribed. And like, how he's talking to the baker, the husband, it's like you wouldn't talk like that during this time period.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's one thing for me, man. It's just like
Took you out.
it took me out, and then they did that. There was the whole that was right before this humiliation scene,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, "Fuck this, dude!" Like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I powered through it. I mean, like I said, Lance Henriksen was fucking amazing in this. Like every time he was on
No
screen, he
kidding.
was captivating
Yes.
Yeah.
and so good.
There was one quote that I think one of those two goons said. I wrote down, "Your resist is your guilt." Like because a
Yes.
woman is telling you no, that means she's guilty of something.
Mhm.
That pissed me off. So there were a lot of I don't know, terrible comparisons to religion
Mhm.
and metaphors with men, how they treat women and how
Mhm.
they were treated back then. And it was just I don't know. It was just, I don't know, kind of unnecessary in a lot of ways. And I
Yeah.
feel like had those two goons not been in it and made it what it was, maybe everything with Lance Henriksen wouldn't have come off so gross. If that
Sure.
makes
Probably,
sense. You know what I
if all
mean?
the acting was like leveled out and they were all on the same page, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the things we're talking about now did bother me while watching it, but the other thing that really bothered me was the non-use of all these witchcraft shit that they were talking about. It'd be like, you're gonna go to this special place, and when you come back, you're gonna be so powerful. What did this girl
Mhm.
It's
do?
her
She
happy
couldn't even
place.
fucking open up her tomb.
That's the happy place, dude. Like that's what she sees fucking Shooter McGavin over there, and there's
Honestly.
Chubb's playing the piano. Dude.
Yeah. Crossover.
But and that's the thing with Edgar Allan Poe stuff is when I started to get into the movie was when everything started spiraling for Lance Henriksen.
Yeah.
Same,
Like,
yeah.
you
I was
watch-
like, okay.
You watch his hit the downward spiral after, like they're burning the witch at the stake, and he goes, if I did this so and so, then speak, and he starts bleeding from the mouth,
That was cool.
and they're like, oh, okay. But once his descent into madness started, I was like, this is just like every other fucking book. This is The Raven. Everything that leads up to The Raven is pretty fucking boring up until his descent.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with The Telltale Heart.
Mm-hmm.
This movie, Fall of the House of Usher, like everything is boring as shit until the madness starts. And I'm like, okay, now I'm stoked on it because watching Lance Henriksen getting chased by these ghouls was fucking great. Watching that, the dude that came from Rome that the Pope sent.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he was in The Brood. Did you recognize him?
No.
Mm-mm. But dude,
Yeah.
when it shows like the rewind time lapse of his dust turning into skeleton, turning into burnt man,
That was sick.
fucking tight. And then they're
Yeah,
all
that was
chasing
good.
this dude. And and Lance is just, like I said, the descent into madness. And then Lance finally gets his upcomings because someone of the church heard that he had confessed to to killing Maria.
Yeah.
And then he just I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I just don't think when I think of Full Moon, I don't think of this. Like I said, the only thing I was super appreciative of was the set design.
Yeah.
It felt grand. Everything felt giant, and you were, transported
Felt cold
into
as
that
fuck,
world.
too.
Yeah.
I felt cold
Yeah.
watching
Yeah.
this.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
gross in a lot of the parts. But
And gross, yeah.
But yeah, I definitely don't think of this when I think of Full Moon. And I've passed, this movie on streaming services or, in real life going through like, DVD stores and stuff. And I'm just like, it doesn't really pique my interest. Like, okay, whatever. Even like the cover art for this was kind of like not good. And with Full
Yeah.
Moon, they kind of go kind of crazy with like their cover art and trying to get you to be captivated by this and like how they like do the wording on it and everything. It was very bland for me. But I did have some sort of enjoyment watching this. I mean, the one part that was like really weird that grossed me out was the guy that he said they crucified or whatever, and he was like, and Lance Hendrick was sticking his fingers in his in his hands, and he's like,
I
yeah,
know.
but if the wounds are still fresh, and he's like
Shoot.
poking them, I'm like,
And
what the
it's like
fuck?
the guy was like, press in there harder,
Yeah.
harder, getting off on it, which was wild.
Yes. Yeah. But there's a lot of
The
things like that.
when Maria is put in the cell with the witch, and even she's kind of scared of her at first. She's like, "You are a witch," and the witch she says, "I don't ride a broomstick through the air or kiss the devil's cock." And I wrote LOL beside that because
Oh yeah.
that's another thing. Like, I should not be laughing at a joke like that set in the Pit and the Pendulum world. Like, this
Yeah.
just doesn't work.
I just think it's funny because it's fucking Happy Gilmore's grandma saying, you know what I mean?
Dude.
It's just, I thought once, because I didn't recognize her when she was dirty. Like when it showed her just in the cell, but once Maria like transported herself for the first time, and what's her name? Her name in this is
Oh, dude, I forget.
Esmeralda.
Esmeralda, yeah.
Esmeralda, she's all fucking dolled up. I'm like, that's fucking Happy's grandma.
Yeah.
Like, but I didn't recognize her. But once I heard her talking and seeing her, I was like, okay, yeah. But no, when she's fucking kissing the devil's cock, it's just funny hearing that sweet old lady say shit like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But you're not wrong. It takes me out of the time period that this movie, like, that's not a phrase, that would be said
Yeah.
during that fucking time period.
Yeah,
No.
agreed.
Unless you are a witch.
Unless you are a witch. Yeah.
Touche. Touche.
Yeah, that's where the phrase "colder than a witch's titty" came from, I guess.
I still say that.
Well, to this
Colder
day.
no.
So-
To this day. It's colder than a witch's titty outside.
So we're saying a lot of like negative things of this. Is there anything that you're like, other than the set design, like we talked about, is there anything else in here that would make you maybe possibly rewatch this movie?
No.
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 Sorry, dude. Like,
I gotta be honest, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I'm right there with you. I am. Am I happy that I watched this again like years and years later? Yeah, I mean, obviously the younger self of me watching this, I wouldn't have really gotten a lot of the things that were going on. All was like, oh,
No, because you were busy looking at other shit.
Yeah.
Look at titties and
Yeah, so
there's
like,
titties and bush everywhere.
Yeah, so we got that. But now going back and watching, I'm like, oh, this movie's pretty fucking gross. And Lance really sold the grossness, and I do appreciate what he did in this, because when you think of Lance Hendrickson, you're thinking of the badass guy who's an android, or taking down a fucking pumpkin head, or doing like all these other crazy things, but you're not really thinking.
He's also
vampire.
like
He's a vampire.
yeah,
vampire.
He's also like a renowned like voice actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
very
got a
successful
great
voice
voice.
actor.
He's got a great
Yeah.
voice.
So to see him,
He's one of the greats. Yeah, one of the great actors.
Yeah, for sure. But to see him in like a role like this, because he's very picky when he wants to do a movie. Like, he has to really feel like he can do that role and all these other things, and make sure it aligns with it. And he does put himself into that role. He goes all out, and he did that for this. And hearing that him and Stewart definitely were banging heads kind of annoys me a lot, because I think if Stewart just let him do what he wanted to do, he would have created a better finished product, instead of trying to force in all the comedy and reanimating it, and making it that type of movie, which I also don't know if Full Moon was just like, Stewart, we really want, like a Reanimator type film. We want to have that kind of vibe. We want it to be kind of gross and funny and have one-liners every now and then, or some weird shit. I don't really know, but I think this is also during the transition period from it being from Empire to Full Moon. I think this was an earlier Full Moon film. I don't remember the exact timeline and when it switched over, but I know Charles was doing a lot of things to save what he was creating, and he wanted to make a lot of movies, and he's still making a ton of fucking movies, and trying to have the highest like B tier movie you could have,
So this,
He's not beating Roger Corman. That's all I'm saying.
No,
Yeah.
never.
he's up there though. So this came out in June of 91, and Full Moon Features started in 88.
Oh, okay.
So,
So it was a few years.
3
after.
years.
Okay. But like we said earlier, like this is one of those IPs that I feel like Full Moon shouldn't have even tried to do because it just doesn't fit. Like when they go and do like HP Lovecraft stuff, like with Reanimator, Dagon, shit like that, that more or less that aesthetic fits with Full Moon
for sure.
Than something that's as, I don't want to say as contemporary as this, but this is pretty fucking classy for Full Moon to try and take on. You know, and not for nothing, I wish there was more Pendulum.
Yes.
In this fucking movie.
We had like 2 scenes with it.
And it's just the same scene.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Maybe this was like their attempt at doing something classier and trying to get out there and reach more audiences and to where it's not just this like gore fest, this horror fest. It's Edgar Allan Poe, so it's classy, you know, that kind of thing. But they went the total opposite way.
What's that old saying? You can't put lipstick on pig.
I don't know if I've
it's still a fucking pig.
I don't know if I've ever heard that one.
Well,
that's new for me.
I haven't heard that. I've heard iterations of that,
but now that I guess since we're talking about Edgar Allan Poe, do you guys have a favorite Edgar Allan Poe movie adaptation?
Hands down, it's not movie, it's TV show. It's The Fall of the House of Usher that just came out last year on Netflix from Mike Flanagan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is, I think Haunting of Hill House will always be my favorite Flanagan, but that is next. It trumps Mask, which I loved, and I love everything else Flanagan does, but it was fantastic. He put these Poe stories. It's not just The Fall of the House of. I was just thinking at the start of this, like, did he cover the Pit and the Pendulum? Because like it's all the family members of the House Usher and experiencing different Edgar Allan Poe tales, like the Black Cat, the Telltale Heart, the Cask of Amontillado, that thing. They're all those stories are woven in with this family, and it's just brilliant the way he did it. I highly recommend it. But yeah, hands down, that's mine.
Yeah, I would probably have to second that, or go back to like one of the old black and white ones with Vincent Price. I think any of those ones.
Oh yeah.
That you can just throw a dart at, and you'd be like, those are great.
Yeah, for sure.
Have you guys seen The Raven?
Yes.
With John Cusack?
Mm-hmm.
No.
What it is he is Edgar Allan Poe, and there's this guy that's like going around killing people according to his stories. So it's pretty fucking tight. And like John Cusack's one of my favorite actors, so
I haven't seen it in a long time.
Oh man, High Fidelity is good.
Mm-hmm. Identity. I'd rather talk about that than this movie.
Dude, that's such a good movie. It's such a good movie. Yeah, agreed.
Identity rules. Yeah.
Well, I say we rate this bad boy.
Let's do it.
I think we've about spewed everything we could. Well, Lil D, we'll start with you. What do you rate The Pit and the Pendulum?
All right, if we're gonna go letterboxed, I'm gonna give this like a 2. Personal, I'm gonna give it a 4.
Why are you doing separate? Oh, just like
it's just I think I've always.
He's always done it personal.
Okay. You want a critic and an audience score?
My own thing.
Yeah, the critic and audience. It's his own Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big D, what about you? Yeah.
This is easily a fucking 1, dude. 1 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd. I will not revisit this movie. I'm sorry. Anna, how you feeling about it?
I gave it a 2 out of 5, and I think like one
generous.
I think one of that is for the setting, like the what's the word I'm looking for? Set.
The atmosphere, yeah.
Yeah, atmosphere, the aesthetic, if you will. I dig that. Lance Henriksen, and like I said, the acting was good, but just the content of which was acted. I'm right there with you. I I won't revisit this. And honestly, I won't. I probably wouldn't recommend it. I mean, I am all for like if somebody said I'm going to watch it, more power to you. But I mean,
tell me what you think after.
Yeah, we'll talk after.
Just skip to the
I love
last
Stuart
like
Gordon.
30 minutes and you'll be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just seen there was a, you know, when that's happening to her, there's like, it's the two assholes and then there's that third guy that's there while they're, do you know who that third guy is?
No.
He's the guy from Breaking Bad, right?
Tom Towles.
Who's that?
Tom Towles. You would know him from House of a Thousand Corpses. He is the cop that goes to the Firefly house with Walton Goggins.
Okay.
He's the one that gets shot in the neck. His brother is William Forsythe in the second one. I know him from a movie called Warriors of Virtue with elemental kung fu fighting kangaroos.
Of course you do.
Yes, that movie fucking slaps. So, but no, it's just cool to see that his name popped up in this at Stuart Gordon's expense, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the guy that Lance Henriksen was fighting on the terrace, he's from Breaking Bad. He's the guy in the early season.
I never watched Breaking Bad.
If you tell me which character, I would probably know. I watched all of Breaking Bad.
Oh, you never did Little D, did you?
I did.
I don't have my camera. Oh, you did? Oh, okay. Yeah, he's the one in the chair hitting the bell. That's him.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So yeah. Yeah, oh, you know what I'm talking about? Okay. No, I'm talking about now. Yeah, he's way younger in this, but I could still see he still looks the same, honestly. I think. But all right, that does it for our first full moon episode this month. I think we started it off with a I'm sorry. Do you have a cue?
I was going to say that was
that was
It's a slice of history.
we're trying.
It's gonna take a while to get used to that, man. Because it's like I'm learning how to lead on another show, and then now we've got cues, and I'm like, what am I doing?
No, you're good. You did great.
I was really hoping you were to choose your words wisely when you said it goes out with a bang.
I actually did write that in my notes. Badass way to go out with a bang.
Literally.
Yeah. Well,
D, you got anything you want to talk about before we get out of here?
I was going to ask Anna if she wanted to lead us out, but I can lead us out if you guys want.
No, go ahead. Nah, I'm done.
You're done? All right.
I quit tonight. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I just want to say Happy New Year's to everybody, and thank you to my two wonderful co-hosts, my team, my heart over here on the Baron's Hideout podcast, and I hope everybody is starting the year off amazing. Didn't have any awful stories like I woke up to this morning that I told Anna about. Hopefully everybody's having a great day. We're adding some new things into the show. As you guys heard, we got some sound drops going in and some other things we're trying to do. And this is Full Moon January. We got some other bangers coming out. This is definitely, I would say, the lesser of the 5 that we have picked. So gear up. And if you guys are fans of Full Moon, let us know down in the comments what you would pick. What would be one that you would recommend to everybody? Because we'll probably be doing this every year because I think this is really fun. And if you're like me as well, when you watch full moon movies, it feels like a brand new year. It's just nice comfort and homey and not so gross like this one. Because there's a lot of other ones out there that definitely meet the aesthetic of being cozy and fun. But yeah, this is a lot of really cool shit that's happening this year. And I don't know if Big D wants to talk about it right now, but we got something else cooking up. He's saying no.
Maybe. No, I'll talk about it real quick. We have a new shirt design coming.
Hell yeah.
And it's got all of us on it. It's going to be whipped up by Derek again, and it looks fucking sick. So that's all I'm going to say about it for now.
So sick. I was showing my buddies at work today. I was like, look. I've never been drawn before.
Yeah.
So I'm just like,
Anna was one of the French women.
Mm-hmm.
I was, yes.
Oh, yeah. This is a great one, guys. Thank you for being here. And we got a lot of cool shit that's planned for this year, and we hope that you guys are here for the ride. Continue supporting us like you did last year, because it was the biggest year on this show last year, and let's make this one even bigger. So we'll see everybody on the next one.
Let's go. Bye.
Later.